just seeing how massive he is and just like what he can kind of do in the weight room, it's special. And then you kind of see him go through his routine in the bullpen before he comes in and what he does in the game. He's been doing that way for a long, long time.
We have Dodgers pitcher Ryan Yarbrough back on FT Live. Got the whole crew together this time. It's Kipnis, it's Kratz, Braun here. Yarb's great to have you on. Let's continue this conversation. So help me out, Kratz. We were just talking about the effect of a bullpen day. Obviously, you've been in every role, and you've been with teams that employ, or whatever the word is, right, that strategize pitching-wise in different ways, right? Can you kind of go over what impact that makes in the regular season and how that carries into the playoffs too? And how you doing?
Good. First off, appreciate it, guys. It's been a little while, so good to see you guys all there together. It's been a little bit, so no, it's been. I think it's kind of a couple ways you can look at it. One is it kind of alleviates guys who started maybe like hadn't been banged up in years past, like they can kind of like get their innings without like having to like really finagle it later in the year. If guys maybe through like 120 innings and they're like 150 with the playoff push, stuff like that. But like I think I heard you guys talk about it. It can be kind of tough, especially where you don't want to abuse your guys, especially early in the year where you're having like short guys go shorter to then pitching high octane games in late September, October, and playoffs. So I feel like it's a fine line of trying to balance it. But I mean, I think at this point everyone's doing it. You don't really see starters like unfortunately take those 35 starts or every fifth day. It's, at least in our case with the Dodgers, we have a pretty unique situation going on with us.
But as far as a bullpen guy goes, do you start to feel the wear and tear where you're like, oh man, it's June and they've grinded on me, and now I'm like, how are we getting through July and August? Because that's when you see teams like, and I always pick on Gabe Kapler, a Gabe Kapler team who does unbelievable. They're absolutely crushing it. Dudes are coming in, they're winning, and then their win-loss record just goes because their bullpen is just tired and exhausted. Do you start feeling that in June, or is that just something July and August you wake up and you're like, what the crap?
Yeah, I mean, from personal experience, like first year fully being in the bullpen, I'm kind of learning that, but at the same time, I'm most of the time going multiple innings, so I get those days off. So I have the luxury of getting that where, like you said, like probably those one inning, like late inning reliever guys who are, having to just pitch day back to back, maybe 3 days in a row. I'm sure it can wear on you. I think that's just going to be the thing where you have to like have really good communication and from a team perspective, have an understanding, hey, this guy needs a day, stuff like that. And especially late in the year, making sure they were ready. That was like, I think the unique thing when I came over last year to the Dodgers. I was basically still throwing every fifth day, but I would basically piggyback at the end after a starter. So I gave the bullpen a complete day off. And guys were like, this is incredible. Thank you so much. You know what I mean? So it's like just those unique situations where if you can kind of bring in a guy like that or to give those guys, especially late in the year, days off, not including like the off days, is going to be huge because you want them to be clicking on all cylinders into October.
Yeah, you want those days off, but we just talked about him a little bit. If you remember Chapman at the start of his career, they weren't sure if he was a starter or a reliever. And you remember Jabba Chamberlain and stories like that. Talk to us a little bit about how important routine is and consistency and knowing which inning you have as a reliever or knowing your role instead of kind of going back and forth between, hey, I got a second inning of a reliever game or I'm always the seventh inning in this game. The consistency plays a big part for you guys, doesn't it?
Yeah, 100%. I think it's a little easier as a starter because you know exactly what you're doing every single day. You can kind of really get things down to like the minute if you really wanted to. But as a reliever, you don't always get that luxury. You kind of have an idea, like most of the times, like especially as the season progresses and you kind of see how guys are throwing. Most times it's pretty set in stone when you have like those high-end relievers who have been doing it for a long time. But if you're kind of like that middle role, like you don't really know when you're throwing, it really comes down to communication. And make things so much easier. The fact of, hey, this is kind of where you're looking at in the lineup too. Like we're looking for you at this part of the lineup. If there's at least for as a left-handed pitcher, like they had a couple lefties at the bottom of the lineup or even at the top. It's like, hey, start looking here. So like every time the phone rings, you're ready to go, but you kind of have an idea of when you're throwing the how the game flow goes, stuff like that kind of helps. But anytime they can communicate and make things easier on you to kind of just be ready to go makes things a whole lot easier.
No doubt. Communication, I'm sure Doc and your whole staff prior, you guys there. I've heard nothing but great about the communication. Quick question, quick answer, and then I'm going to go with my longer question. Do you watch the standings at this point in the season?
No, I personally don't. Maybe like you'll see it like come up on the TV or something, or like some ballparks have it, but I mean I don't really kind of look at it at this point of the year now.
It's not standings watching time, scoreboard watching time. But you guys have been 12-12 in your last 24 games. So you're kind of, hit or miss here or there. But you gained, I think, 2.5 games or 2 games during that span. Does it feel like you gained games in the standings, even though you're not watching?
No, I mean honestly, no, I didn't expect to hear that. Like it hasn't been the best stretch for us, but at this point, would you rather have it in May and June than late in the year? Like, it's all part of it. Every team's going to go through it. I know, like all the pieces we brought in, everyone just expected us to just absolutely crush it, and I think even part of us was like, what, we got all the pieces here. Let's just go out and do our thing. But it's a long season. Everyone kind of goes through it a little bit, so. We'd rather have it now, but I think it's everyone has the end goal of where we want to be, not necessarily like how things are going in May and June. Obviously, they're important, but we understand it's a long season, and we're going to get there and just kind of keep plugging away.
Was there any extra juice, fire last night when it was must-see TV for me? I'm stuck on the airplane, and I'm like, I need to see the first Skenes Ohtani at bat. And I need to see the second one. Was there juice as far as in the locker room? Like, I kind of want to make sure I'm out there in time. Get my fleece on in time, so I'm out there to see that.
Yeah, 100. I think we knew who we were going to face with between Jones and Skenes. They're both really young, both good, really young pitchers with really bright futures. So, especially when you see 2 electric arms like that, both throwing over 100 to start the game. So, I think, yeah, it was pretty impressive to see, and like I mean, you could tell early on, even especially from the crowd, like everybody was into it. After every single pitch, there was like oohs and ahs, collapse. So it wasn't just like at the end of innings or after ends at bat. So everyone was pretty locked in from the get-go.
FT is headed to the MLB All-Star Game this year, and there's only one way you should be finding tickets for any ball game. SeatGeek is the official ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, so they have you covered for all of your baseball ticket needs.
I'm super pumped to hit the Futures game this year. That new skills competition looks electric.
I agree, Kratz. It's like the Olympics for baseball. Cannot wait to see that. With over 28 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. Baseball season's in full swing, and you don't want to miss out. SeatGeek has your tickets to every game and, of course, concerts, festivals, and more.
Every ticket's backed by their buyer guarantee, and SeatGeek is the only site that lets you return your tickets ahead of the event with swaps.
And Kratz, FT came through for the people. Use our code FOUL for $20 off tickets at SeatGeek. That's $20 off your first purchase with promo code FOUL. Make sure you click the link in the description to download the app, please.
But what's it like to watch your guys' lineup? Because sometimes maybe teams have maybe one of the guys that you guys have up there at the top of the lineup, but you guys have 3 MVP candidates at the top of your lineup. To be able to watch Mookie, Freddie, and Shohei, you guys have to be confident and walk into every single part knowing this lineup is exactly what we got and exactly what we need.
Oh, it's kind of mind-boggling to even think about, because you see it on a daily basis. So like, I wouldn't say you get used to it, but you just like most of the time they're all getting on. You know what I mean? So like Will Smith, our 4-hole hitters, most of the time is hitting in the first inning. So it's more. I feel like it's more crazy if you don't see that, which is kind of crazy to think about. But I mean, just 3 future Hall of Famers like that, just absolutely right on that track. Just get to see them every single day, right at the top of the lineup. I'm sure it's not fun to face as we begin the ball game. You're trying to get settled in, and those are the 3 guys you got to see right from the get go. So just being able to see them on a daily basis, and you got guys who are super incredible behind them. Will Smith, I know Muncie's banged up right now, and Teoscar. You got Teoscar in the 5 or 6 hole. That's crazy to think about.
That's you actually said about Muncie being banged up. 12-12 in your last 24 games. how much does he mean to a lineup that has 3 MVPs, that has, a Teoscar doing what he's doing? You have Jason Hayward coming off the bench some nights. You have Rookie of the Year candidates from last year down in AAA. But how much does Muncy's at-bats affect this lineup? And now that he's out, is that something that is kind of going into a little bit of the Dodgers scoring drought? Not a regular team scoring drought, but a Dodgers scoring drought.
I kind of look at it as the timing doesn't line up great with him going out and then us going scuffling a little bit. But I think he just puts really good at bats. He's another threat to go deep at any time. So someone you always have to be wary of. So it just kind of passes the baton to the next guy. If you're not one to face him, or if you're trying to nitpick and then you miss, or he gets on base or walks, things like that. It just continues moving things down the line, giving guys opportunity with runners in scoring position. So it's huge. So I think he's doing well. So hopefully he gets back soon. But we definitely miss him having him in the lineup. For
everybody just listening on the podcast, my guy Yarbrough is wearing the just absolute fire black diamond necklace that you 100% bought for the length that you bought it for, and you put it outside your shirt. So I'm painting the picture for everybody who's just listening.
I appreciate that.
But it looks
you don't buy
really
that
good.
To put it inside the t-shirt.
You don't buy that to put underneath your t-shirt. All my chains, they stay under the shirt. Just like Scott's biceps. Just like Scott's biceps. He has sleeveless shirts. See, look,
there you go.
Kip's chain game is always great.
My black one is it's being fixed right now.
It's being fixed.
But
your black diamond necklace brings me and reminds me of the fact that Aroldis Chapman pitched last night. Did you get to see that? And are you impressed as a guy that has changed roles, is thrown in the bullpen, knows what it's like? And, you throw upper 90, so it's kind of the same. He reared
90,
back.
90.
Yeah, upper 90, like 90.7, 90.8, upper 90.
Yeah, we'll touch it. We'll get there.
Right. That's what you need. But were you impressed with that as a fellow left-handed pitcher, that this dude is like, oh, everybody's throwing hard? I'm still the beast in this league.
Yeah, same. Me and him, same guy. So,
the Cuban missile, the American missile. You're the American missile. He's the Cuban missile.
His biceps are probably the size of my thighs, but
don't.
Dude, it's impressive to think about. 104. I played with him last year in KC before we both ended up getting traded, and just seeing how massive he is and just what he can kind of do in the weight room, it's special. And then you kind of see him go through his routine in the bullpen before he comes in and what he does in the game. He's been doing that way for a long, long time. So, but 104 last night and just pump it in. Here it is, boys. Try to hit it. That's pretty impressive anytime you can see that. But, I don't have that in the tank, so I don't get the luxury of that.
Okay, but have you ever seen anybody sweat more than Aroldis Chapman before he goes in a game?
I don't know. I pitched last night too, so I can tell you right now that was probably one of the more humid games we had last night, especially coming from LA to Pittsburgh. That was a big difference, but man, he gets himself geared up. I don't know what he does or how he does it, but he definitely lets you know he's working hard out there.
A steam room.
Well, he steam rooms after the game, but I'm telling you, I think he's the only guy that goes into a steam room to stop sweating. He sweats so much. It is one inning, and it is just draining from his hat.
So the sweating aside, would you rather have the Skenes fastball or the Chapman fastball if we gave you a superpower?
Those are speedballs.
Yes.
Those are
death balls.
I don't know, man. Just pure off heater, I'd probably say Chapman. Did you also see that's his sinker that he throws harder than his four seam, just for whatever reason? It's unbelievable. I don't know how that works, but yeah, I'll take that.
Dude, the pitch we were going over to Ohtani that got him later, in the eighth inning or whatever it was. Yeah. That movement was, as Kip mentioned, also I don't want this to hit me in the face. I have no idea where this is going. This is not.
Yeah, the slight, you don't know where it's going to go, just adds a little emphasis to it too, I'm sure.
Survive to get another at bat.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And your career, survive just your career in general for it not to hit you in the face and you swing at it. Okay, so one more on on Pirates pitching. We were debating the All-Star game and what it means to market the sport. So we do have a representative from every team that makes it, right? That's a thing every year. Do you think that we should keep in mind a hotshot rookie to display to the world, especially if they're putting up numbers? So Paul Skenes is a perfect example because he ends up starting his season a little bit late. This actually happens pretty frequently where you get a rookie who appears in May and you're like, he doesn't have the same body of work as player X, but a lot of people would love to see this dude against this big lineup on the other side.
No, I think definitely would be must-watch TV if he got into the All-Star game. I think it all just, for me, would come, like you said, body of work. When did he come up? Depending on how many innings compared to like the rest of the league. If it's like close enough, I don't see any problems with it. It's just more going to be like if he has like half the innings as a starter or stuff like that, where it might get a little like, maybe this guy's been doing it all year kind of thing. That's where it is, like where you see guys been grinding it out all year. It's not Skeens' fault by any means. It's just he got a late start for, just getting drafted last year and he's already dominating the big leagues. He just had a little get ready in AAA there for a little bit.
I think we talked about it a little bit too. The only person it really hurts is that guy who might make his only All-Star game of his career.
Right.
That gets pushed out. That's I feel like is the one downside where that guy maybe doesn't get in for the sake of the game. They're going to put in a Skenes over this is his one close chance of getting in, and it really hurts a player like that.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else, it benefits, I think, the game of baseball, the fans, it doesn't benefit the hitters that have to face them. But
sure. But I know what you're saying. Like there's been players like that, Yarbs. I think Nick Markakis was one of those where he didn't make one until like the second to last 36. Year or something. Yeah, where you're like, this dude's done a lot for the game. People know who he is. He's been close. He just hasn't gotten there. And if you're weighing, a situation like that, it's tough. I mean, pitching, I don't want to say you can always add a guy because there's still limitations. But Ryan, we get to a few days before and all of a sudden there's a million replacements. Guys aren't feeling great. They, get a start push where they can't then pitch. But anyway, just was bringing it up.
Here, I'll make it apples to apples. Paul Skenes has the same amount of innings as you, exact same numbers. He has a few more strikeouts than you. I mean, same ERA, same ERA plus.
Right.
Are you upset? Are you upset if he goes in over you? I understand you understand that the game, they market people, but that's your all-star pick, and it would have been Yarbrough or it would have been Skenes, and they take Skenes because he's the next hotness.
I think at all levels, you're going to be like just upset for the fact that you were so close to making an all-star team, especially for me who's probably never even sniffed one. So like, at least at this point in my career, to be able to even be getting that close, I think there's going to be disappointment just for the fact of, I could have made it, but I mean, I think it's kind of weird. It's kind of out of your hands. You did everything you could. It's just tough at that point. They're going to be a little upset because you were that close and just didn't make it. Nothing against like who the other guy was. You know what I mean?
I see you're trying a little bit. Maybe we just need to grow that mustache out just a little bit more. That might attract some more voters. I see it in the shadows there. Mm-hmm. You're working.
The shadows are giving a lot more help than it needs to be right now. I'll tell you that much.
Eric Kratz here from FT. I'm a former athlete that really pays attention to his routine. And AG1 every morning before my workouts is something that gets my day going.
Hey, Braun here. AG1 is a foundational nutrition supplement that delivers daily nutrients and gut health support, and it's backed by multiple research studies so you can trust what you're putting in your body.
Unlike other products which only test their ingredients in isolation, AG1 tests their formula as a whole.
Ready for this stat? 97% of people in a research study felt more energy after 30 days of drinking AG1. If I had to recommend one product to support whole body health, it's AG1, and that's why FT is excited to have them as a new partner. Starting your journey with AG1 is a win. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3, K2, and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase at drinkag1.com/foul. That's drinkag1.com/FOUL. Go check it out, FT fam. Well, the more we talk about this, the more I do think that, like, the one commissioner designation wouldn't be the worst thing in the world so that you don't have a veteran pitcher, say, missing out on their one chance. Like, you just add one.
commissioner designation?
Well, that's what they did for the
So he
veterans. That's what
chooses
they
it?
did for Miggy and Pujols. If he's like, hey, they huddle up and they're like, there's a guy that really should be here. We don't want to take it away from anyone else. I don't know.
Let's call it a player
commissioner,
designation.
league, right? PA,
Okay.
whatever. They all come together anyway.
Because here it is. Your ERA plus is 132. Paul Skenes' ERA plus 136. I'm just saying. If Scott's pining for Skenes, I'm pining for Yarbrough.
That's so messed up to put it that way. I'm
just
pining
saying.
for both.
I'm just saying.
I'm trying to change the rules. So
to add Skenes.
Yeah,
you got to choose. We live in a world. We live in a world of you got to choose.
That's why we have this show. That's why we debate it. All right, a couple more things. So first off, just playing off this, how often is this talked about in the clubhouse? Not just this combo, but I'm saying like All-Star game. The ballots just opened. Our guys talking about, hey, I've never been there. Maybe this is my shot. Like maybe even asking a guy like, should I try and put something extra special on my social media, get some more attention this time around? My agent's telling me to do this and that. Like, and if not, what is talked about right now, baseball wise, in the clubhouse that stands out? Like, try and take us inside there, because obviously it's not just aside from the game strategy talk.
Yeah, I don't think any of that has been honestly talked about, at least from my perspective or what I've heard in the clubhouse. Like you said, they just opened the poll, so maybe I'll hear some stuff as it comes about and hear how that goes. But I mean, we got a lot of guys who have a lot of All-Star game experience, so I'm sure if anyone has questions, we got the guys with answers. So that's not really talk about like right now in the locker room. I think just because there was so much buildup of it, the whole Jones and Skenes matchups, we're just kind of like, all right, let's see what these guys have. Excited to kind of see what they bring to the table, kind of things. I mean, from a pure baseball standpoint, it was more of our schedule that we've been having the last couple of days with our whole flights cross country the last couple of days. I think everyone was very curious how that came about. Between New York, go home for 3 games, then come back to the East Coast to play in New York again. So I think those are the kind of little things that you kind of start thinking about in May and June as it comes about.
I want to hit on that a little bit because your schedule sucked. Like, how is that? Do you guys see that ahead of time, or are you like, hey guys, we got a day game tomorrow and we're packing to go out east, and then do you look ahead and go, holy crap, what? This is what we're doing? Like, how is there not complaining, because I think baseball players like Kip complain a lot. Guys like me, I'm just happy to be there. I never complained. But how is that taken, and are there any steps taken, like sleep doctors, all that stuff, hydration, or the long flights?
Yeah, well, it was more of like, I think you kind of saw like, because once you get in spring training, you kind of look at the whole schedule. You're just like, oh, that'll be fun, like those kind of comments. And then as it gets closer, you kind of see it a little bit more, especially once you get to New York. I'm like, all right, guys, let's go home for 3 days before coming all the way back over here. Like I said, it's no complaining. It's just more of like curiosity of like, especially when they're back to back like that. Most of the time they're kind of like spread out where you have like one like every couple weeks or once a month, things like that. But they talk to us. They give us a bunch of stuff on the planes. Like the drip drops, the right stuff, the hydration, things like that. They kind of talked about like wearing compression stuff on the long flights that are like 5 or 6 hours. Nothing like the crazy talks or like the sleeping of when we went to Korea or anything like that. But still, like more of the just be mindful. We got a game tomorrow and it's a long flight. So luckily we've had off days in between, but I'm sure at some point it'll be one of those long flights and you got to get up and play right away the next day.
Yeah. MLB is trying to screw over the Dodgers. That's what I see. That's what I see. It's not what Yarbrough said. That was what Scotty Braun said.
Well, they're pimping them out though too.
Right. I mean, they're selling their commodity.
It's a showpiece.
They went to Korea.
Which I get. I think that's just part of it, because especially like you said, we're have all the guys we brought in and won all the primetime games. Like we got on Sunday we have a night game, the ESPN night game, just for the fact, and then we fly back right after. So it's all part of it. We understand it's just part of being with the Dodgers. It's just kind of funny when you see like little things, parts of the schedule like that.
Red Sox, Yankees.
Right.
They had to put in rules in the CBA because they weren't giving them the Monday off day, and so they came up with rules like, hey, the Dodgers can't play a East Coast game at night and have a game the next day because you're getting in to LA at like 7 in the morning.
Right. Yeah. It becomes a competitive disadvantage, and that's when you have to rethink it a little bit. Okay. So last one, just painting a quick scenario for you. You're a free agent. You like 2 cities the same. They offer you the same exact amount of money and all of that. One says, hey, extra caveat, we might play 10% of our games on the road.
Like home games?
Yes. Which one are you choosing? I'm making it very easy.
I saw you guys talking about this, the whole with Oakland and everything. It's a tough ask, especially with family and everything, and trying to get them to fall all over the place. Getting that a little bit right now, even like when they travel on the road, coming to want to come see some new ballparks. Like first time being here in Pittsburgh, so the family was here. So just being in hotels, it's gonna be kind of with 2 little kids running around a hotel room. So I would say like it'd be weird, maybe based on what the teams look like. But yeah, it's definitely would be interesting to ask for that, for like play 10 for however many games that would be on somewhere else.
Yeah, and it's less of a blast when I'm asking a player, because we're going to ask multiple players about this, and more of the fact that, there was a claim that it would help player recruitment, and Kratz went very hard against that and was like, no, that would hurt player recruitment. Telling them that they have 10 extra road games is not going to help anyone. It is what it is. Obviously, there's other factors, like you said, team money, etc. But if we're in a vacuum, you're not helping recruiting.
I'm sorry, Yarbs. Your wife is not. She's not signing off on that.
No.
Yeah, unless it's Korea or Tokyo, or kind of cool experiences while you're there, things like that. That'd be different. But yeah, like somewhere like within the U.S., depending on, like you said, they told you in advance where they're going to be, or cool cities like that. But I don't know how that all works. I'm sure we don't get that kind of information.
Yeah, they're not giving you a stipend to go play their scheduled 8 games in Nashville. And I got roasted on Twitter for saying this by a solid group of future A's fans. Yes, future Las Vegas A's fans. They roasted me because they were like, "What do you know?" And I'm like, honestly, I would have signed. If it doesn't matter, because it's a big league team. It's a big difference when you're talking about recruiting a Ryan Yarbrough, somebody who's had a stellar career, recruiting a Jason Kipnis, recruiting a Trey Turner. Like, way different. Not apples to apples.
That's not a bad idea, though. What if they do, like, where those 10 games or 10% or whatever it was? What if it's like Field of Dreams for this series, and you do cool spots for each one?
That's different.
I'm saying maybe that's how you.
But you wouldn't get the promise.
Cool,
like
that would be pretty cool.
Yes, exactly. So there's a balance there. But you're right. Like Turner, Wheeler, guys like that, they signed locally, like turned down less money at other places just to be closer to home. So anyway, Yarbs, we appreciate the time, dude. I know we were extended, but we hadn't talked to you in a bit, and you're on the road, so we figured an extra 10 minutes with Yarbs.
No, the kids are there.
Crushed it, man.
The kids are there.
They were. They left. They're going to New York. They'd rather hang out in New York than hang out with
okay.
There you go.
Wives love Chicago and New York. And Pittsburgh. That's nice of her. She's a grinder. She's a grinder for going to Pittsburgh.
I just want to see all 30 stadiums. This is like one of the few ones we both had left, so
that's cool.
At least had to do it once,
What's another stadium you have left? Real quick.
Sorry. I think I only got St. Louis left.
That's good. But I think guys go there this year?
She has a couple left. Yeah, we'll go there later this year. I knocked out Wrigley and Cincy this year, but yeah, most of those central stadiums where the old schedule kind of limited me from being able to get them.
I never got San Diego.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah. Never got San Diego.
I knocked it off for the second to last day of my career.
Yeah.
Oh, the second last year of my career.
We're not going to have these combos soon because of the way the schedule works, but I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, Ryan, awesome catching up.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, go crush it
awesome,
tonight.
Guys.
We'll talk to you soon.
Hey, everybody. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
Baseball the way it should be covered.